Last 7 or 8 minutes or so I lost on that last video, so give it another try quickly. So we've got, these are weak adjectives, they're ordinary adjectives. These are strong adjectives over here, although there are also some adjectives that are known as absolute adjectives. They're either true or false. And these strong adjectives and the absolute adjectives, generally speaking, we can't make comparatives or superlatives with them. Whereas these weak adjectives, generally speaking, we can. And generally speaking, we can use very with all weak adjectives. We can use absolutely with most ungradable adjectives, strong adjectives. And these other words as well, although the other words, it is more a question of collocation. And these all pretty much work with the weaker adjectives, and that's very extremely, I don't know if you can see it because of the chat box, I can do that, very extremely, reasonably, incredibly, a bit, slightly, rather, and fairly. Okay, so that's the way that this works. It's a question of which intensifiers to use, but I'll quickly go through the meaning of some of these strong adjectives because I've put them on the board to try to teach you some new vocabulary as well as the grammar. So in the UK we say knackered, and as I said before, some people say cream crackered, which is rhyming slang, but knackered means exhausted. Yeah, exhausted is another strong adjective and it's a good one, and it means tired. Okay, we also say immaculate, which means spotless, really, really, really clean. Don't forget, really is a cheat. Pretty and really work with strong and weak adjectives. So if you're ever unsure, use pretty or really. Okay, hilarious means incredibly funny. Yeah, I mean, really, you've got the definitions, haven't you, already written here? But hilarious means incredibly funny. You can find my grammar books on my website, skype-lessons.com. Yeah, skype-lessons.com. And you can buy the PDF if you're looking for a PDF copy of the Grammar in Theory and in Practice or Visual Phrasal Verbs. But if you're looking for the hard copy, you go to Amazon and you can find a hard copy on Amazon. Okay? Hilarious means really, really funny, and you'd say absolutely hilarious, utterly hilarious, yeah? Don't think entirely works so well with hilarious, and so don't think that all of these will definitely work with any ungradable adjective. Sadly, it's not true. Most of these do work with the gradable ones, but with the ungradable ones, it's more a question of collocation. Absolutely tends to work with most of them, so absolutely is the safest one to choose. But with a lot of these other ones, it is a question of collocation. Okay, lovable, it means, you know, this person is very easy to love. Charming would be quite similar, but adorable is much stronger, yeah? And charming, like lovable, is weak, yeah? You'd say he's a very charming person. You wouldn't say he's absolutely charming, okay? So that's what I'm trying to really push in this lesson. The main thing is very and absolutely. It's the different intensifiers. Okay, penniless means poor, but it's much stronger. And so you can say he's absolutely penniless, he's entirely penniless, he's almost penniless, he's virtually penniless. Works with a lot of them. This one's very flexible. And you can also say skint or broke if you're in the UK, because they are very common slang expressions, although they're so common that they're almost just informal English, for when you have no money. You are skint, you are broke, you are brassic as well, is an old one. Annoying, irritating, yeah, but infuriating, exasperating, yeah. Irritating would be over here on the weak one, on the weak side, yeah. He's very irritating, he's incredibly irritating, but he's absolutely infuriating, yeah, utterly exasperating. Both of those work well. It's not got a hard cover, it's paperback, but yeah, you need to go to the Amazon website and just type in Grammar in Theory or in Practice, or Visual Phrasal Verbs. We're on to bad. A strong adjective of bad is awful, but that's the one you all already know. So another one is atrocious, because an atrocity is something awful. It's some kind of massacre or something like that. An atrocity is usually something violent that's terrible. And so if somebody's behaviour is atrocious, or their attitude is atrocious, or their mark in the exam is absolutely atrocious, it just means really, really bad. So very, very good one to use. Please do start using it more often. It will add colour to your language. You've got surprised, but you could say gobsmacked. Now, I like this one because your gob in the UK, that's slang for your mouth. Gobsmacked means you're smacking your mouth. Now, this isn't slang, strangely enough. Gobsmacked isn't slang, but gob is slang for mouth. So, yeah, that's what it means. It means you're smacking yourself in the mouth like, oh! And so, of course, it means surprising, yeah? And I want you to remember that because it'll help you remember the word. Gobsmacked, it means smacking yourself, hitting yourself in the face with your... God, it's so shocking. But you can also say dumbfounded. If you're found dumb, you're speechless. Yeah, and so if you're speechless, of course you're dumbfounded. You're found dumb. Yeah, and so dumbfounded is like gobsmacked. It means what it sounds like it means. And flabbergasted. So all of these you need to say utterly flabbergasted, absolutely dumbfounded, totally gobsmacked. Yeah, and they work really well with them. Yeah, dreadful is another excellent strong adjective. Yeah, absolutely dreadful. And very, very common, certainly. Okay, so loud, the stronger version of loud is deafening. Yeah, if somebody's voice is deafening, it's incredibly, incredibly loud. Notice that incredibly goes with loud, yeah? Because it's over here, so it goes with loud. We don't say absolutely loud. We say incredibly loud, but we say absolutely deafening, utterly deafening. I wouldn't say completely deafening, personally. So be careful. Some of these don't quite collocate. Although some people might. They might say completely deafening. But for me, it doesn't quite work. Happy and overjoyed, those two are pretty easy. I don't think anyone's going to have any problem there. Small, you could rephrase as minuscule. Yeah, it was absolutely minuscule. It was utterly minute. Notice it's got the same spelling as minute, but it's minute, the pronunciation. So pronunciation changes there for the adjective. Minute, absolutely minute. Now, if somebody is unpleasant, or if there's some kind of unpleasant smell in the room, you might say that's absolutely disgusting. Or if it's a person, you might say he is utterly obnoxious, yeah, or absolutely repulsive or absolutely revolting. Yeah, some of the other ones don't sound so well for those, so good for those two. So repulsive and revolting, they're all strong adjectives of unpleasant. Again, the last two, you've got painful, and you've ominous. I wouldn't say is unpleasant. No, ominous is slightly different. Ominous means that something sounds as though something terrible is going to happen in the future. Yeah, usually it means that you're anticipating that something bad will happen in the future. It doesn't mean unpleasant. You normally use it like this. You say that sounds ominous, and it means that sounds as though it could end in a bad result, that it might lead to something negative, some kind of negative consequences. Ecstatic is good for happy, definitely. Happy, overjoyed, or ecstatic. So yeah, there are a lot of these strong adjectives and absolute adjectives as well. Some people call the true or false ones absolute adjectives. Ghastly is another one. Yeah, for unpleasant, I agree. Yeah, absolutely ghastly. No, it would be strong. You wouldn't say very ghastly, and you certainly wouldn't say more. That's more ghastly. You could do it with even more ghastly than. But I recognise that with the word even, you can make comparative forms with these strong adjectives. So don't trust the grammar books if they say you can't. It's not true. With the word even, you can. And I want to put a shout out to Random Idea English Blogspot, because it's where I learned most of this stuff from. The books do a really bad job of it, in my opinion. But I want to recommend that website to anyone who's looking for fantastic exercises and incredibly clear descriptions and descriptions of grammar, descriptions of different grammatical rules. He goes really into the nitty-gritty, and he really gives a great explanation for all sorts of topics, and you will not find explanations like this anywhere else. I've read a lot of different grammar books over the course of my career, and Random Idea English Blogspot is probably the best one out there, and it's a free website. You don't have to pay any money, and he's giving you all sorts of exercises for free. His name's Warsaw Will, so I gather he's a guy in Poland called Will. I've never met him, but he's brilliant. So please go to his website for exercises on this. Amazing. Loads of exercises and hundreds of strong adjectives. Okay, and yeah, ominous is from the word omen. Well, yeah, I think they are connected. I'm not sure. I'd have to check, but I think they are connected because a bad omen is a bad sign. It means that something terrible is going to happen in the future. Now, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. I'm going to try and be a little bit more responsive to your questions. Because I know that usually I'm just turning around and teaching, but I have to do it at the end, really. But certainly I enjoy the live streaming, and I don't mind taking questions. I like it, questions about the theme, about the topic. It's always interesting. Okay, if there aren't any questions, then I was doing this just to finish off the lesson that I started, but it got stuck in the middle. Seems to be going well this time, I think. Please come to my website, Skype-lessons, for new lessons, and I've already put, in fact, several exercises up there. For each new lesson, there'll be an exercise under the new lesson so that you can practice as well. Okay? Can you write his name, please? Oh, you mean Warsaw Will? Random Idea English Blogspot. Type that into Google and you will find his website. His name's Warsaw Will, but that's a nickname, I reckon. So enriching your vocabulary, please go to my website, check out those new lessons, buy my book on vocabulary. It's very cheap, £20 for black and white on Amazon, or you can get a PDF. It's a big book. Look, that's a really reasonable price. Yeah, it's a reasonably priced, you might say, reasonably priced. So please, if you're looking for places for vocabulary, I've got a book on vocabulary. This is the one you want to get. This is for upper intermediate learners. It's not really for beginner, but upper intermediate learners who it only focuses on phrasal verbs. So it's for learning phrasal verbs, this one. Okay, and if you're into grammar, then this is the one which I'd like you to get. But it's not written for TEFL, it's written for native speakers. So I'm going to write a book for TEFL grammar very soon, and I'll probably do it in a similar way to the Murphy, because everybody likes Raymond Murphy's intermediate grammar. I think it's a good book as well. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching. I hope to see you all soon.